It's your boy, Deep in Israel, the people's champ. Shalom, Israel. How y'all doing today? How are y'all doing today? I hope everybody is well. This beautiful Sunday afternoon here in the QC, 85 degrees. Hope everybody had a wonderful Sabbath day on yesterday. And your boy is back. Your boy is back. We're going to talk a little bit today. We are going to talk a little bit today. Just give me a second. I'm trying to build something a little bit that I've never done before. And I want to see how this is going to work out. So just bear with me a minute while I get set up. And we're going to get into the topic of today's show. How to rank men. I just want to make sure my camera's good. How to rank men. Wait a minute. I just want to make sure my camera's good. All right. So I know my sound is good. All right. So I got it queued up on the monitor. So we're going to talk about today how to rank men. And I want to expand a little bit on what the Godfather, Kevin Samuels, rest in peace, introduced to the mainstream, this ranking system. And I want to add a little context to it. Because I think, particularly with you ladies, you lovely ladies, you B-dubs, with you guys thinking, your thinking is always in extremes. It's either this extreme or it's that extreme. And this leaves you to make bad decisions because you don't understand, you're not getting it. So I want to try to shed a little bit of light on that. I want to talk specifically about the men right now. Okay. So I'm going to bring on my camera. I got some notes. People learn in different formats. Some people are visual. Some people are verbal. Some people are a combination of the two. So I want to try to touch bases on is reach as many people as I can is what I want to do. So I got the overhead set up, and let's see if I can bring it in a little bit more. So bear with me. Let's see if I can bring it down a little more. At least I don't have it upside down, so that's a good thing. Okay. All right. So I couldn't get this all on one screen as I wanted to, or can I? Wait a minute. Let's try that. Let's try something. Let's rotate this camera a little bit. Let's see if it'll cooperate with me. See if we get the best angle. Okay. All right. Let's see. Let's see. See where we are. No, obviously, it's not doing what I wanted to do. Well, wait a minute. Let me play with it a little bit. No, it's not doing what I wanted to do. So, let me put it back where I had it. I wanted it to be a widescreen, but it's not. It's not doing what I wanted to do in widescreen format. So, okay. So I'm going to be expanding on Kevin's scale of 1 to 10. 7 is not an option. Okay, we're gonna go that way. Okay. So Kevin talked a lot And a lot of people in the manosphere, red pill community, a lot of the brothers, they talk about high value men. Okay. And let's see if I can get it where I want it to go. Y'all know I'm blind too, so I just want to see if I can get it where I want it to be in the best way. All right. Move it over a little more. This is tricky. All right. All right. All right. So, and you got to forgive me because there's a little lag on the monitor that I'm using. It's not real time on the monitor. It's like 10 seconds behind. So I got to make my adjustments slow. All right. Let's move it over. I want to see the 10. Can I get my 10 in there? Come on. I'm trying to find the edge, essentially. Forgive my handwriting. I don't write hardly as much as I used to because of my eyesight. So hopefully this makes sense to most people. And I'm going to explain it. So I'm going to give you some visual and I'm going to give you some verbal to try to explain this. My understanding is what I'm trying to do. All right. Okay. So, high value. Take my glasses back off. They're not helping. High value men. Okay. Those are your 8s, your 9s, and your 10s. Right? Those are high value men. According to Kevin Samuels, because this is where most people learn this concept or were introduced to this concept. So I want to make sure I give credit to the Godfather, and I believe he got it from someone else in the manosphere. High value men have to make at least $10,000 a month, which is $120,000 a year. You have to adjust for cost of living, people. So if you're in New York City, $120,000 a year is nothing because of your high cost of living. So we're talking about Atlanta dollars, Charlotte dollars, Houston, Dallas dollars. We're talking about those places. We're not talking about LA. We're not talking about New York City. We're talking about regular places or more common places that are representative of the country. Okay. So again, if you're in New York, you have to adjust for cost of living. Meaning you got to make more if you're in New York City. $120,000 a year it's a guideline to use the quote. What is that, Captain Barbados or whatever from Pirates of the Caribbean? It's a guideline, not a rule. Okay, $110,000 a month, $120,000 a year. All right. You need to make that money for, I believe, minimum 3 to 5 years. So this can't be your first year making this money. You got to have some track record, some consistency. Okay. 3 to 5 years. Now, he also introduced the amount of men nationwide who black men we're talking about, who fit in this category. It's right around 6%. You got roughly 20 million black men in the country. Do the math. Multiply 20 million by 6%. That's roughly what you got. Most of these men congregate in larger cities, in top 20 cities. That's your Atlantas, that's your Charlottes, your New Yorks, your Dallas, your Houston. Okay. Top 20 cities. So you're not going to meet this guy in Podunk, Oklahoma, or Columbia, South Carolina. Understand? That's not where those guys typically are. We're also not adjusting for marriage rates. We're just talking about across the board, just how many of those are. Once you factor in marriage rates, it's going to be less than 6%. Okay? Those are your 8s, 9s, and 10s. The problem with you ladies, y'all do this with everything. Everything is an extreme. So if you're not high value, you're a dusty. That's the word they like to use. I'm going to call them low value men. If you're not this, you're this. You're low value. You are a 1, 2, or a 3. Those are your dusties. And I'm quantifying it this way because I think it's going to make room for more intelligent conversations. Okay? Because, see, you ladies like to use vague statements. A lot, many, all, you know, what are you talking about? And then when you start putting numbers on stuff, y'all are way off. Way off on the numbers. Okay? So, you got 3 types of men according to this scale that I'm expanding. You got high value men, your 8, 9s, and 10s. You got your low value men, which are your 1s, 2s, and 3s. Right? That's where we are. These are the guys that are making all of the babies. Okay? These are the men who you ladies are choosing to procreate with. Okay? Multiple baby mamas. They have low income. Okay? They're typically not leaders when compared to all men. Now, they may be leaders amongst low value men. And see, that's where y'all get thrown off. But when it comes to the overall group of men, they're not considered leaders. Okay? Hope everybody's following me so far. I'm not looking at comments, so please forgive me. I got too much going on. I'm not trying to overcomplicate this. I'm trying to build this as I fly. So please, I don't want to throw too much into the equation right now. So I'm not going to be taking comments. So I'll go back and look at the comments later. Okay. Now we're going to talk about, so those men typically represent less than 10% of men. That group of men, the 1s, 2s, and 3s. Okay. So, for sake of argument, to make this simple, out of 100%, you got 10% on the low end, you got 10% on the high end. That's 20%. Well, guess what, ladies? What y'all often do is y'all leave out the majority of men, which are in the middle. Those are your average value men. Those are your 8s, your 4s, your 5s, and your 6s. A 5 is average. 6 is slightly above average. 4 is slightly below average. Okay? So, we know what high value is. You got to make a certain kind of money just to even start that conversation. So I'm not going to get into all of the other parameters. Because if you don't make the money, it doesn't matter if you have a network of other high value men. It doesn't matter because you're not in a group. yourself. To make that group, the starting point is the money. Okay? Average men, the average black man in this country makes $42,000 a year. Okay? 42,000. The average white man makes 51. Just to put it in context. The average black woman makes 37. So all that nonsense that all of these high value women and high earning women is nonsense. Because the average black man out earns the average black woman. And it's not because there's some wage gap. It's because y'all choose low paying jobs. Y'all don't choose to work in STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math. I think it's less than 2% women who work in STEM. Okay? Y'all don't do the hard jobs, in other words. So that explains the difference in pay. But when black men and black women work the same job, they get paid the same amount. Actually, black women might get paid more because y'all are more likely to get promoted because you're a black woman. That's another conversation. Okay? But there's a lot that goes into being a high value man other than money. But money has to be there. Okay? So you might be a high earning man, but you're not a high value man. He gave y'all 5 points. So you got to have the money in place. You got to have a network of other high value men. Those men have to seek you out and respect you and come to you for advice. You have to be able to contribute something to that group. You also have to have a LinkedIn title. You can't be entrepreneur. You have to be a CEO of acquisitions or a lawyer, a doctor. You have to have a LinkedIn level title. Operations manager. Okay? Executive of logistics, whatever. So all of those things have to be in place for you to be high value. Again, you may be high earning, but not high value. And we saw this time and time again on Kevin's show. All of these women would come in. Oh, I was with a high value man. Wrong. Absolutely wrong. You may have been with a high earning man, which I doubt. Because, I mean, let's face it, ladies. You just get to know these men. These men aren't telling you what their salary is. You've never seen their salary. You never seen their bank account. You're just making assumptions because they have a car or they live a particular place, or you're making assumptions based on whatever. And some of you just slap that high value label on a man because you're with him. Okay? But that's why Kevin came up with those 5 points. Average value men, $42,000 a year. That puts you right in the middle. Okay? Puts you right in the middle. 60% of average men are in the middle class by themselves. They're single and childless. 54% of these men are single and childless. So if your dude got multiple baby mamas, he's not average. He's less than average. He's low value. I'm sorry, it is what it is. We're not talking about a guy who was married and his kids come from a marriage and he's divorced or widowed. Not talking about that. We're talking about single, never married men who got multiple baby mamas. There are always exceptions, so please, let's not go to the extremes. We're talking about, generally speaking, dudes with multiple baby mamas, never married, are typically 1s, 2s, and 3s. Maybe very nice guys. Maybe good guys. Hardworking guys. Maybe. But they made poor life choices. That's what got them over there in that low value category. Okay. Hope y'all are following me. My point is y'all focus too much on the extreme. See, for y'all ladies, this middle section doesn't even exist. You're either high value or you're a dusty, the way y'all speak. But he a dusty. He can't pay all my bills. Well, guess what? Just because a guy makes $120,000 a year doesn't mean he can pay all your bills. So y'all associate income with wealth because you don't understand economics. So you may have a guy who's making $42,000 a year. He's average value, but he has more wealth than this guy over here earning $120,000 a year. This guy may live in an apartment. He may be house poor. He may be riding around in a car he really can't afford. He ain't able to save no money. He doesn't manage his money. Where you take an average guy working a decent average job, making $42,000 a year. He got his own house. House is almost paid. You know, he's halfway through paying for his house. He's driving around in a used car that he owns, so he doesn't have a car payment. He's got a good 401k because he's not paying for unnecessary stuff in an expensive apartment and an expensive car. This guy over here may be better for you. Y'all called him a dusty though, because he wasn't quote unquote high value in your category. But that's because y'all make bad decisions because you don't understand the numbers. You don't understand the economics of it. And we're talking about legal income too, ladies. We're not talking about the dope boys that's over here in the low value category. Not saying everybody that's low value is a drug dealer. Not saying that. But we're talking about, we're assuming everybody on this list is earning their money legally. That's what we're assuming. Also, going back to the high value, these men are typically older men. They're closer to, they're around 40 to 45 when they start hitting their peak financial stride earlier, later actually, more like 45 to 55. These guys are older. Same thing with the average value. You're not going to meet a bunch of 25-year-olds making $42,000 a year. I'm sorry. He's going to be making more like $35,000 a year. He's just starting out. But see, y'all kid yourselves. Y'all delusion. Because you think you're going to find a 25 to 35-year-old who's in this high value category. He hasn't lived long enough. He doesn't have enough experience. He's not been on his job long enough. More likely, he hasn't developed the skills yet. There's nothing wrong with the average men. This is typically the pool of men, the majority of men. And this is typically historically where women pick their husbands from, right in the middle. But y'all developed this obscure sense of ranking in the last 50 years, whereas either or, high value or dusty. And y'all just ignored it. And then I say these numbers to y'all ladies all the time on social media. Oh, I don't know where none of the men are because those men avoid women like you. You get what you are. See, y'all don't have standards. What y'all have, ladies, is a wish list. Just because you wish something doesn't make it your standard. Your standard is your result over time. So if all the men you have dealt with typically fall in a low value category, you're probably low value yourself. You get what you are. Now, there are always exceptions. You might get lucky every now and then. But the problem is, ladies, you're used to being with a man who's a 2, right? You're used to dealing with 2s and 3s. Now you get with a guy who's a 5 or a 6. You run across him. If you normally dealing with 2s, is your standard, and you run across this 6, he's 3 times better than what you're used to. But you want to treat that 6 like a 2. Actually, you want to treat the 2 better than the 6. I've seen plenty of y'all do that. So if you were with a 2 and you were doing, y'all always talk, oh, I did this for my ex, I did that for my ex, and he didn't appreciate me. And then you get with 6, and you don't want to do none of those things that you did for the 2 for the 6. You want to give the 6 less than you gave the 2. Well, that's not how the market works. You can't buy a Honda Accord, a BMW rather, for the same price as a Honda Accord if they're the same model year. So if you're looking at a 2022 BMW, that's going to cost more than a Honda Accord. You got to put more in to get a better car. But y'all don't look at it like that because your ranking is off. And you're not honest about the kind of men you've been dealing with. Because that's a reflection of you. So you can't be honest, oh, I've been dealing with 2s and 3s all my life. Because you've been telling yourself you're a 10. That's what y'all all think. I'm a 10. So why you keep winding up with 2s? You get what you are. If you work in corporate America, ladies, you work at a call center, right? That's average. You should be getting a dude that has a comparable job to yours. So why you keep dealing with dudes that's out on the street, out on the block, that work in warehouses for $10 an hour? If you're a call center chick, if you're a nurse, right? Why your baby daddy don't have no job consistently? Because you've overvalued yourself. You've been telling yourself you're a 10. You're probably a 4 or a 5, right? But then because of your decision making, that dropped you down to a 1, 2, or 3, ladies. And those are the men you get. Who you get is reflective of what you are. And it ain't always about your looks. You could be an 8 in the face, but you got 4 kids. Those kids lower your value. You got 4 kids by 3 different dudes. Well, the average, that puts you less than average, because the average black woman doesn't have that. So if the average black woman doesn't have 3 kids and 4 baby daddies, that means you're less than average. The average man is single and childless and in the middle class. So if you're dating a dude that has multiple baby mamas, he's already not average. He's less than average. Automatically. Maybe a great guy, maybe fun, may look good, maybe tall, may drive a nice car. It doesn't matter. The numbers are, this is the black book, right? That's how dealers appraise your car. When you go to trade your car in, the dealer is going to whip out his little black book, and he's going to see, he's going to walk around your car. He's going to test drive it. He's going to see if it's ever been wrecked before. Do it got good tires on it? They're going to, how much mileage is on it? And that's going to give him a number that he's going to offer you for your trade. That's how the market works. So them 4 kids by 3 different baby daddies matters. And you wasn't married to none of them. It matters. It affects your ranking. It affects the man's ranking that you're dealing with. Right? So let's talk about high value. I want to beat this in y'all's heads a little bit. I took some notes. So 10,000 K, $10,000 per month. That's 120,000 per year for 3 to 5 years minimum. We're not talking about athletes and entertainers. They make their money different. Kevin said this to y'all night in and night out. Shout out to the Godfather. Even in death, he is still winning. LinkedIn level title. Y'all dealing with dudes who ain't even got a resume. So you know damn well they ain't on LinkedIn. Right? They have a network of other high value men who are their peers. They see each other as these are my peers, these are my boys, this is my wolf pack. They must be useful to that group. They got to contribute something. The group got to come to them to contribute. Y'all wouldn't know this by looking at the man because men don't discuss these things with women. Y'all make assumptions. Oh, I dated plenty of high value men. You ain't never dated a fucking high value man in your life. You don't know. You ain't been around this goofy guy long enough to determine what to even pick up on the cues that he is high value. %86 of these men, these high value men, are married to black women. So that whole notion that, oh, as soon as men get some money, they run to white women, it's not true. Because see, again, y'all focus on the extremes. But that's not the normal. 86% is the vast majority are married to black women. These are the facts. Go to blackdemographics.com and look at them for yourself. Okay? All right, let's see what we got. Average value men, your 4s, 5s, and 6s. 60% earn $42,000 a year or more. They're in the middle class, all by themselves. Here's where y'all drop the ball. Let's say you take an average man and an average woman, right? Average black man in this group is making 42K, 60% of them. And if you take a woman who's making 37, that means your household income, right, will be 79,000 a year. But y'all don't know how to work together. Y'all want to keep your money and spend your man's money instead of putting like we used to do, putting that income together. So you're not paying 2 rents. You got 1 mortgage now. You're building equity. You're not doing it all by yourself. You could afford to take sick days off from work because you got a husband who can pick up the slack when you're sick and vice versa. The Bible tells you 2 are always better than 1 because you get a good reward for your labor. And if 1 should fall, the other is there to pick up the other. I'm paraphrasing. But this is what the scriptures tell us. That's how we used to operate. This is why your grandparents had more than what you got today. Your grandmama, that Big Mama's house, Big Mama got her house not because she was single and a bad bitch. She got her house because she was with Grandpa, Big Daddy. And Big Daddy died paying for that house. And Big Mama outlived him. On average, black women outlive black men. And Big Mama may be still alive today, reaping the benefits of what her husband did 30 years ago, 40 years ago. Y'all will never be in that position because you got to try to prove to the world that you could do something you can't do. Does that make sense? So for all you educated, so-called educated women, this is a numbers game, ladies. This is all about numbers. Y'all not doing basic math. Two is always better than one. Um, these are your low value men, your ones, twos, and threes. They represent 100% of the men who are fathering the out of wedlock children. So y'all say y'all want high value men on one end of the spectrum, but who y'all actually choose to procreate with when you're not married is low value men. How do we know this? Because the data tells us 54% of men are single and childless. You go into the Pookies and Ray Rays. Because see, your wish list is high value, but what's actually your standard is low value. And again, I've seen all kind of numbers. Roughly, it breaks down to on average right around 10%. Right? Do the math. 54% of black men are single and childless. Another 36%, with 34%, depending on where you look, are married. Add those two numbers up, you come up to around somewhere between 88 and 90%. You still got to take out the men who are in jail because if they in jail, they ain't making babies. Typically. Okay? Typically. Because that's that excuse y'all like to use. Oh, all the good men in jail. No, all the low value men are in jail. The average value men aren't in jail. 54% of them are single and childless. But y'all only see things in extremes. That guy's a janitor, right? He's a garbage man. But that garbage man is making $50,000 a year. He's making $50,000 a year. He works down at the water plant, making $50,000 a year. Y'all ignore him because he ain't got a fresh pair of Jordans on. He got some work boots on when you see him out in the street. He get up early in the morning to collect trash. He ain't got time to play games with you. Y'all don't see these men. But your trash get picked up every week. Your water is always on when you turn on that faucet. Your lights, when you flick that light switch, comes on. Who do you think those men are that are maintaining the grid? Y'all ignore those men. They don't exist to y'all. And I'm saying this because I want you to open your minds. These low value men, again, have multiple baby mamas. They hop from house to house. They have little education or skilled trades. These guys didn't go to college. They barely graduated high school. They don't have a skill. They don't know how to work with their hands. They don't have a high value skill, let's say that, that can translate into a salary. They're not a barber. Haircuts cost $50 right now. $40 to $50 is what the average haircut costs, right? Barbers are making very good money. Y'all overlook the barbers. Y'all rather deal with the low income dudes. And we have a conversation on why that is later. It's time to get real about the numbers and learning how to rank yourselves appropriately, and your men. Because who you pick shows who you are. And men are going to do that. They're going to look, well, who was you with before me? Oh, I got 4 baby daddies. All them niggas ain't shit. You ain't shit. That's why you kept dealing with them dudes and procreating with them. You ain't just going on dates. You are having relationships and or getting pregnant and procreating with these dudes. That shows that you're low value too. That's what that says about you. So you're too busy trying to throw him under the bus, and you're really describing yourself, and you don't even realize it. Because see, average value and high value men are going to check the facts. And again, just don't assume because a guy has a high income that he has wealth. He may not have any wealth. And this guy over here in the average category may have a ton of wealth. He may have a rental property. He owns his own house. His car's paid for. He put money, he got money in the bank. He got some insurance. This is a guy you could build your life with. You're both going to be working. See, this whole housewife shit, Black women were never housewives. Very few Black women got to sit at home and just be housewives. That was never the norm in our history. Black women went to work and Black men went to work. And we worked together. And it was average people doing that. That's what built the so-called Black community. Well, and I'm not going to say so-called. We had a Black community 70 years ago. Today, we don't have a Black community. We just are Black people who share a demographic. We're demographically similar, but we're not a community. This is why your businesses fail, because you don't have a community to support your business. This is why your kids are out of control, because you don't have a community. It takes a village. Y'all too busy focused on the extremes and ignoring the middle. This is what majority of the people are. I think I'm gonna do another one of these videos, and I'm gonna do the same concept, and I'm gonna talk about women. Okay. See, ladies, it don't matter what y'all think. It matters what we think. Because we built the society. When you build something, you get to make the rules. Men built the society, so we get to make the rules. I'm sorry. That's just the way it is. So we don't care what y'all think is high value. Because if we left it up to y'all, everybody's a 10. And that means you have no room for improvement. You're a 10. You're perfect. You have no flaws. So where's your improvement? How do you self-improve? Because you're already there. And if you're a 10 and you're perfect, why do you keep making bad decisions that lead you to low-value men? Because your thinking should be perfect too. Your thinking should be flawless. So if your thinking is flawless, how do you keep making bad decisions? And again, 100% of y'all out of wedlock babies come from this group of dudes over here. How do you keep doing that? These men are pretending to be something they aren't. They are who they are. I've seen y'all leave y'all husbands who was in the middle to go over here. I've seen it time and time again. Well, that's all I got. I hope this made sense. And I made this video to foster further conversation. Hopefully, I've done the late great Kevin Samuel some justice by expanding a little bit on his concept of what high value is. But that's only 6% of men. What about the remaining 94%? Y'all focus too much on the extremes. It's time to come back to reality and get back to the middle of the spectrum. It's not either or. There's a whole middle area that y'all just ignore. And this is why y'all aren't getting married. You don't walk right past your husband because you ignored them. You didn't want to cooperate with him. You were disagreeable. You were contentious. And these higher value men, that's your 4s and up. They don't have patience for that. Again, that guy's getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning to drive trucks. He's getting up at 5 a.m. to go take the trash out and collect the trash around the city. He ain't got time to be coming home and arguing with your silly ass over some goofy shit. He don't have the patience for it. He ain't got the money to be financing on your girls' trips. He's worried about how y'all gonna retire. That's what he's thinking about. Oh, we don't have enough money to retire. Can we take this family vacation once a year? But y'all thinking about going to brunch with your other broke friends. It's time to get real, ladies. It's time to get real. Hopefully y'all enjoyed today's video. If you haven't done so already, please like, subscribe to my YouTube channel, smash the bell so you keep getting this wonderful masculine content. You're going to get a little red pill. You're going to get a little black pill from me. You're going to get a perspective that a lot of men are scared to tell you. I've been telling you this for 30 years. 20 years on social media. I've been telling y'all this. The conversation ain't changing. What's happened is more men are starting to speak up. Stop listening to women. Y'all don't know what you're talking about. You lie to each other. You lie to yourselves. That's all I got. Like, subscribe, and share. It's your boy Ben Israel, the people's champ. Let's talk about it. Holla at your boy.